half of America. Looks like no one lives there. Hundreds of thousands of square miles, wide open, untouched, and oddly quiet. So why are these 9 U.S. states practically empty? What's driving people away? Or keeping them from coming at all? Is it the weather, the economy, or something deeper, something no one talks about? In this video, we're breaking down the 9 emptiest states in America. Backed by real data, population stats, and surprising truths you won't believe. If you're thinking about relocating, or just want to understand why millions are avoiding these places, stick around. This might just change how you see the map. Number 9. Nevada. Most people think of bright lights and big bets when they hear Nevada, thanks to Las Vegas and Reno. But step just a few miles outside those cities, and it's a different world. Nevada is one of the most sparsely populated states in the U.S., with just 28 people per square mile. In fact, over 85% of the state's land is owned by the federal government, meaning almost no one lives there. Massive stretches of the state are empty desert, high plains, or restricted military zones like Area 51. And while Las Vegas continues to grow, most rural counties are shrinking or have been stagnant for decades. Access to healthcare, schools, and basic services drops dramatically once you leave urban hubs. Jobs outside of tourism, mining, and logistics are scarce, and water scarcity is a growing long-term issue. For some, that solitude is exactly the appeal. But for most Americans looking to relocate, Nevada outside of its neon cities is simply too empty. Number 8. Nebraska. It's known as the heart of America's Corn Belt. But Nebraska is also one of the emptiest feeling states in the country. With just 26 people per square mile, the state's population is heavily concentrated in just a few places, like Omaha and Lincoln. Once you leave those cities, you'll find endless farmland, tiny towns with just a few hundred residents, and some counties that have been losing population since the 1950s. Rural depopulation is a serious issue here. Young people move away for college and never return. Jobs in agriculture and manufacturing have become more automated, leaving fewer reasons to stay. And while Nebraska boasts a low cost of living and a strong sense of community, many people simply don't want the isolation that comes with life on the Great Plains. If you're craving space, peace, and old-fashioned values, Nebraska might feel like home. But for those chasing economic growth or a vibrant lifestyle, it's often overlooked and left behind. Number 7. Idaho. It's one of the most beautiful states in America. Towering mountains, crystal clear lakes, and endless evergreen forests. But despite its natural beauty, Idaho remains one of the least densely populated states, with just 24 people per square mile. That's because most of Idaho is wild, rugged, and extremely remote. Nearly 63% of the land is federally owned, leaving vast areas uninhabited and undeveloped. Outside of Boise and a few fast-growing towns like Coeur d'Alene, much of the state is quiet, slow-paced, and hard to access. Some rural communities are more than an hour's drive from the nearest hospital or grocery store. Winters can be harsh, infrastructure is thin, and job opportunities are still limited outside of farming, mining, and certain tech pockets. While Idaho has seen a recent population surge, especially from Californians seeking freedom and affordability, the vast majority of the state remains empty, wild, and disconnected from modern life. For adventure seekers and off-the-grid living, Idaho is a dream. But for the average American, it can feel like there's just not enough civilization. Number 6. New Mexico. It's called the land of enchantment, but for many Americans, it's also the land of emptiness. New Mexico has a population density of just 17 people per square mile, making it one of the most sparsely populated states in the country. Much of the land is covered in high desert, rugged mesas, and protected tribal or federal land, leaving vast areas untouched and uninhabited. Outside of Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Las Cruces, there are miles of silence, small towns with shrinking populations and limited services. New Mexico ranks high in poverty and low in education outcomes. It struggles with infrastructure, access to health care, and one of the highest crime rates per capita in the nation. And while the cost of living is low, wages are too, keeping many young people and professionals away. But for those drawn to art, culture, and open space, New Mexico offers a spiritual calm you can't find elsewhere. Still, for most Americans looking to relocate, the isolation, limited job market, and rural decay make New Mexico a hard sell. Number 5. South Dakota. Best known for Mount Rushmore and wide-open prairie skies, South Dakota is one of America's most quietly empty states. With just 12 people per square mile, it's easy to drive for hours here without seeing another soul. Most of the population lives in or near Sioux Falls and Rapid City. The rest of the state? It's dominated by endless farmland, Native American reservations, and small towns that haven't grown in decades. Many counties in western and central South Dakota are experiencing steady population decline. Limited access to health care, long drives for basic services, and a harsh winter climate make rural life tough. Jobs are mostly in agriculture, healthcare, or government. And while there's no state income tax, that benefit is often outweighed by the lack of opportunity, entertainment, and growth. South Dakota can be a haven for those seeking simplicity and personal freedom. But for the majority of Americans considering relocation, it's just too remote, too slow, and far too empty. Number 4. North Dakota. It's a land of extremes. Bitterly cold winters, endless flatlands, and some of the lowest population density in the U.S. Just 11 people per square mile. While cities like Fargo and Bismarck have grown modestly, the rest of North Dakota remains largely untouched and deeply rural. Dozens of counties are shrinking, and many small towns are shadows of what they were 50 years ago. The state's economy is heavily reliant on agriculture and oil, industries prone to boom and bust cycles. During the oil boom of the 2010s, North Dakota briefly gained national attention. But when oil prices dropped, so did migration, and many workers moved on. Brutal winters with sub-zero temperatures and wind chills that can reach minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit make daily life even more difficult. And for those seeking a vibrant lifestyle, cultural variety, or easy access to services, North Dakota often falls short. There's no denying its strong work ethic and natural beauty. But for most Americans, North Dakota feels frozen in time and space. Number 3. Montana. They don't call it Big Sky Country for nothing. Montana is massive, the fourth largest state in the U.S., but it has fewer than 1.2 million residents spread across it. That's just 7 people per square mile. Outside of a few urban hubs like Billings, Bozeman, and Missoula, much of the state is untouched wilderness. The towering Rocky Mountains, vast plains, and protected national forests mean large portions of Montana are uninhabitable or off-limits to development. Rural Montana faces serious challenges: aging populations, hospital closures, limited high-speed internet, and miles of distance between basic services. And despite recent growth from out-of-state transplants, particularly remote workers seeking beauty and solitude, most Montanans still live far from each other. Some counties have seen little to no population growth in decades, or are even losing residents year after year. Montana offers unmatched natural beauty and freedom, but with long winters, limited infrastructure, and a fragile economy outside of tourism and agriculture, it remains one of the most wide-open and empty places in America. Number 2. Wyoming. It's the least populated state in the entire U.S., with just around 587,000 people spread over nearly 100,000 square miles. That's barely 6 people per square mile. Yes, there's Jackson Hole, Yellowstone, and stunning mountain views. But most of Wyoming is made up of desolate plains, high desert, and quiet ranching towns that haven't changed much in decades. The economy relies heavily on coal, oil, gas, and cattle, industries that don't require large populations to thrive. Many rural towns lack access to major hospitals, colleges, or even reliable grocery stores. And winters? Long, cold, and isolating. Despite its natural beauty, Wyoming faces one of the slowest growth rates in the country. In fact, several counties are seeing more residents leaving than moving in, especially younger people seeking opportunity elsewhere. For some, that peace and privacy is priceless. But for many Americans, Wyoming is just too empty, too remote, and too disconnected from modern life. Number 1. Alaska. It's not just the most remote state in America. It's an entirely different world. With over 570,000 square miles of land and only about 740,000 residents, Alaska has a population density of just 1.3 people per square mile. That makes it the most sparsely populated state in the nation. By far. Most of Alaska's population is clustered in a few areas like Anchorage and Fairbanks. But the rest? It's vast wilderness. Mountains, ice fields, forests, and tundra stretching farther than the eye can see. Many towns are so remote, they're only accessible by plane, boat, or snowmobile. There are places where it's normal to have no roads, no cell service, and no neighbors for miles. While Alaska offers breathtaking beauty and unmatched solitude, it also brings enormous challenges. Brutal winters, long periods of darkness, high costs of goods, limited healthcare access, and some of the harshest living conditions in the U.S. For adventurers and rugged survivalists, Alaska is paradise. But for most Americans considering relocation, it's simply too cold, too far, and far too empty.